When we talk about dating and relationships, trust is the bedrock of everything. Without trust, even the most powerful feelings cannot withstand the slightest pressure. The thing is that sometimes there are lies flying under the radar. And no, I'm not talking here about big deceptions like cheating or betraying someone, but small, day-to-day deceptions that take place more than most of us imagine. These are the kinds of lies whereby a person may insist that they are fine when in fact they are not, or insist that something does not bother them when really it does. They are also subtle enough to pass undetected, but strong enough to make impacts in how we will relate to others. Now, let's be real for just a second. Why does this happen? People lie for all sorts of reasons, especially in dating and relationships. Sometimes it's to avoid a fight. Other times it's because they fear judgment or rejection. Perhaps they want to protect your feelings, or maybe they're trying to protect themselves. Whatever the reason, these small white lies can add up with time, creating cracks in the foundation of trust. When one person lies and the other uncritically believes it, then something is lost for both of them. One loses his authenticity, and the other loses clarity. Here is the bottom line. Communication is key. If you have ever been blindsided by a partner's dishonesty, chances are you weren't paying close enough attention to their nonverbal actions. Body language, tone of voice, and even hesitation say so much more than the words. If she says she's okay, but she crosses her arms tightly across her chest, a red flag goes off. Or if she insists she doesn't mind staying home instead of going out, but lets out a heavy sigh while saying it, there's probably more to the story. It isn't about suspicion. It is about being observant. What should you do? Then, when you suspect a lie staring directly into your eyes, don't jump to any conclusions. Approaching a person head on just puts him or her on their back foot to worsen matters. Be curious rather than accusatory. Instead, use questions that will promote elaboration and openness. How are you really feeling? Or is there anything else you'd like to share? Give them space to open up without pressuring them. Many people lie because they don't feel safe being vulnerable. By creating emotional safety, you invite truth. Another important thing to know, self-awareness is a major key to maneuvering through dating and relationships. Before pointing fingers at your partner, take a step back and look at yourself. Are you guilty of overlooking truths yourself? Do you look the other way at red flags simply because it's easier to pretend everything's okay? Being transparent with yourself models the transparency you expect from others and also helps to set a positive tone for the relationship going forward. One of the most common ways in which this situation occurs is through commitment. For example, you may ask your partner whether they see themselves with you in the future, and they, being completely positive, say yes. But then you realize inconsistencies in their actions. They cancel plans at the last minute, seem disinterested in conversations, or avoid talking about the future. Maybe they said what they thought you wanted to hear, not really what they were thinking. That's where misaligned expectations come in. You both must be on the same page with regard to the direction of the relationship. Otherwise, resentment will build up and trust is lost. Speaking about trust, another LSI keyword is attachment styles. Your attachment style secure, anxious, avoidant, or disorganized sets the pace with which you navigate intimacy and vulnerability in your date or relationship. A person with an anxious attachment style may always be in need of reassurance, while someone who has an avoidant style may hardly open up emotionally. Understanding your and your partner's attachment style could provide insight into why certain patterns of deceit occur. An avoidant may lie, for instance, in order to create emotional distance, while anxious individuals may tell fibs to restore peace. With this awareness, you have the opportunity to address the root instead of just the symptoms. Next is talking about something really important: boundaries. Boundaries ensure that there is mutual respect and that no resentment will build up. In this context, setting boundaries means clearly defining what you will and will not put up with in terms of dishonesty, even white lies. For instance, you may decide that omission of facts about money matters or personal issues is a boundary for you. Communicating these boundaries early on prevents misunderstandings down the road. Remember, boundaries aren't about controlling your partner, they're about protecting your well-being. One good advice for improving communication in dating and relationships involves active listening. An individual actively listens to his partner by paying all of his attention, asking for clarification, and echoing what he hears to ensure understanding. It allows one to value the view of another and creates a no-judgment zone where honest dialogue is well permitted. Think of it as a means to bridge chasms due to miscommunication or hidden truths. Gradually, this practice will help strengthen your bond and make lying through the cracks rare. Now, one may ask, how is trust rebuilt when it has already been damaged? Rebuilding of trust takes time, patience, and lots of effort from both sides. One should initiate the process by acknowledging the breach of trust and discussing the events that led to this breach. Was this incident an isolated one, or was it part of the bigger picture? From there, work together to establish new norms around honesty and accountability. Transparency is paramount. Share your thoughts and feelings openly, and let your partner do the same. Keep in mind that rebuilding trust doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means choosing to move on with life despite it. In conclusion, let's review a few key points. Dating and relationships build off of a base of trust, while trust builds off of a foundation of honesty. Unaddressed, the lies, be they intentional or unintentional, can erode that foundation. Pay attention to nonverbal cues, foster emotional safety, and communicate openly with each other. Understand your attachment style and set healthy boundaries. Practice active listening and work collaboratively to rebuild trust if needed. That way, you will have a relationship based on authenticity and mutual respect. Key takeaways include recognizing the importance of emotional honesty, understanding relationship dynamics, and addressing trust issues head-on. Miscommunication and attachment styles also play significant roles in shaping how lies manifest in dating and relationships. Armed with this knowledge, you're better equipped to navigate challenges and build stronger, more meaningful connections. Just remember, nobody is perfect. People tell little lies now and then, often with good intentions. What is important is how you will deal with it when these kinds of situations arise. Approach them with empathy, curiosity, and a willingness to grow together. That's the secret to lasting love.